What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Well, no, welcome to the channel. This is a new channel. Yeah, and maybe a new channel deserves a new intro. I don't know. We'll work on that. Everything here is going to be a work in progress. But welcome to Lotus Talks Basketball, where your boy Lotus talks basketball. So I'm going to assume that the majority of the people who are first finding this channel and watching this video are going to be people who already know who I am. I'm Lotus Asakura, the one who never knows best. You normally know me for anime and video games and things like that. But honestly, I'm way more passionate about basketball these days than I am about anime and game. And so for a while now, I've been wanting an outlet where I can talk about basketball. And I've been wanting to create a new channel for a minute, and I just been kind of on the fence about it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I finally decided, you know what? I'm gonna do it. It ain't nothing to it but to do it. And you never really know how it's gonna turn out or where it could go if you just never try, if you don't start. So we're just gonna get things started. And the whole direction, channel, aesthetic, the name, everything about this channel could change in a week from now, a month from now, a year from now. I don't really know. We basically just gonna be throwing things at the wall, see what sticks, and go wherever the wind blows. But basically, I want to talk to you guys about some basketball. Now, for those of you who are new around here and you don't know who I am, basically my name's Lotus. I'm a huge Lakers fan, a huge basketball fan. I know I don't sound very convincing coming from a guy in a baseball jersey with a bunch of anime stuff all over his room, but let's look here, listen, okay? Give me a chance. And speaking of giving someone a chance, today I'm starting off this channel by talking to you guys about the Lakers hiring JJ Redick. Pretty big news in the sports world, I would say, especially for me and myself as a Lakers fan. And obviously this has been a hot topic of conversation, and I have my own thoughts and opinions that I've been wanting to share about this because I just see so much on social media and in the sports media and just all over YouTube comments. And I got some things I want to get off my chest, okay? So first things first, I'm excited to see JJ Redick get the job as head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. But I kind of honestly originally didn't want to see him get it, but only for his own sake. I think being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers is probably the hottest seat in the entire league right now. A job that is not very safe, not very secure, regardless of the 4-year deal he just signed. I wouldn't really have a whole lot of faith or trust in that, considering what we've seen with recent coaches such as Darvin Ham or even Frank Vogel, who we won a championship with. I'm honestly a pretty big fan of JJ Redick. I think he's a great basketball mind, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But I thought if he was going to step into the realm of head coaching for his own sake, he might be better off going to a worse organization or someplace with lower expectations like the Wizards, the Hornets, the Pistons, or someplace like that where he can go ahead, get his foot in the door, get some experience. And, you know, if they suck, well, the team was already bad anyway. It's not necessarily his fault. And if they're great, wow, JJ came in, established a culture, turned the whole team around. And he's a miracle worker, right? The thing with LA, though, is that it's pretty much championship or bust, especially when you have LeBron James on your team, right? All he's looking for is championships. All the Lakers are ever looking for is championships. If you're not making it to the finals, you're not doing it right. And I feel like those are pretty lofty expectations for a rookie head coach who has no prior coaching experience, which would have a lot of people say, and it does have a lot of people saying, that he's unqualified for the job. But who's really qualified for that job that's available? I mean, hell, Monty Williams was considered to be a pretty good coach, and the Pistons actually did that where they went and hired somebody who was qualified for the job. Granted, he didn't really want to coach anymore, and there's conspiracy theories about whether or not that he intentionally kind of just didn't really do a whole lot and kind of tanked on purpose because he just didn't want to coach. And now he collecting a crazy bag to sit at the crib. But it's like, what other candidates were out there other than, I guess, Dan Hurley, who they could have offered more money, who I'm not honestly that familiar with because my college basketball knowledge is very limited right now. But we're going to be working on that in due time because I don't want this channel to be just about the NBA, but hopefully the WNBA as well and college basketball, because those are the kind of like the 3 main leagues I'm really looking at to kind of, you know, invest myself in more and more and more and learn more and talk about. But I digress. Back to the JJ Redick situation. I just don't see like who would have been a better candidate that was available. I mean, I guess you had like Kenny Atkinson or James Borrego, but would they really are they coaches who are necessarily championship caliber? That's like, oh, if you throw them on a team, I just have like so much of a better chance of making it to the finals and winning the Larry O'Brien than JJ Redick does. Not really. I am personally of the belief that JJ Redick is a promising candidate with a lot of potential as a head coach. I think he's very analytical, very methodical, very passionate, actually obsessive about the sport of basketball. I think he has a great basketball mind. I love his approach to the game. I love the way he talks about the game. He's saying everything that I want to hear him say so far as a coach since he's been hired in the last several days. All the quotes and everything I'm seeing come out from interviews and whatever, which granted, plenty of people have done a good job of that. But, you know, a lot of people can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? Only time will tell. But that's another point I want to make, is that only time will tell. The same way you can't write off a rookie head coach as being a bust or not fit for the job, whatever, after one bad year, one bad season. If the Lakers do end up having a bad year, a bad season, it's the same to me as a player. I'm already of the belief that we're kind of too harsh on coaches as it is, and coaches are getting often used as the scapegoat right now in the NBA, and they're just on such a short leash. And it's just, I don't really like the way things are moving. And obviously, as a Lakers fan, I've seen that a lot. Like I said, we had Frank Vogel as a coach. He won a championship. A couple years later, he's out the door. We hired Darvin Ham 2 seasons later, he's out the door. And I don't want to see that happen with JJ Redick. I like him a lot as a commentator, as an analyst, and hopefully I like him a lot as a head coach as well. And I think that with some time, he can get some experience, learn to command a locker room, establish a culture in LA, and be a great coach for the future. I don't expect him to come in overnight and just turn the organization around, be a miracle worker, and suddenly turn us into champions. Realistically, that's just like, there are just so many teams who are above us, both in coaching and personnel and everything, like the Denver Nuggets, the Dallas Mavericks, the Minnesota Timberwolves, obviously. And then out east, you have the Boston Celtics, who don't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. They're going to be able to run it back with the exact same roster. And then you have the Knicks, the Sixers, who are the Sixers, but I give them a little bit of respect. But you know, there are some really good teams out there that I don't expect us to just all of a sudden be way better than. Granted, you don't necessarily have to be way better than those teams. Some of it is matchups, some of it is a little bit of luck, whether that be whistle or injuries or the lack of injuries or whatever the case may be. But I'm already preparing myself for the future of the Lakers post LeBron. And I want to see a team, an organization, a roster, a coach all grow together. I want to see JJ Redick and the young core of Max Christie, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. If that's what we're going to do, if that's what we're doing with Jalen Hood-Schifino, all of that, I've already accepted that. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to see, not necessarily a rebuild per se, but I'm just ready to see things start over. LeBron's not going to be here forever, and I don't expect us to win a championship. I'm rooting for that. I hope it happens. I would love to see that. But like, if the Lakers have a pretty mediocre season, or if we just barely make the playoffs, or we lose in the first round, second round, or even the conference finals, or even if we do make it to the finals, well, if we make it all the way to the finals, then I'm trying to win. But if we make it to the first, second round, it's like, it's whatever. To me, I don't think that's going to be the end of the world. Now, the internet might treat that as the end of the world, right? Because it's just like, well, okay, like Darvin Ham was able to get you to the conference finals. Darvin Ham got you to the playoffs. It's like, if JJ Redick can't do any better than that, then like, what's the point? What's the purpose? Was he a good hire? Was he the wrong hire? Blah, blah, blah. It's LeBron's fault, which we're going to touch on that in just a moment as well. But it's just like, the expectations are so astronomically high. And I know he has those for himself as well. But again, to me, I'm just trying to keep it like realistic. And if we win a championship, that's amazing. He's a miracle worker. He's the greatest coach ever, right? Oh, and that's the funny part too, because the Lakers front office of Rob Pelinka are going to get all the credit, all the praise in the world. Oh my God, they cook, they're geniuses, blah, blah, blah. And if it goes south, well, that's all LeBron's fault, because LeBron handpicked him. LeBron had all the say in this. He only got the job because he's LeBron's buddy. They did a whole podcast together, and that was just one big interview for the head coaching job. Now, they trying to convince us over there in the organization that LeBron had no say in this and like no hand in this whatsoever. I don't buy that, but I don't believe JJ Redick only got this job because he's LeBron's best friend or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I watched every episode of the Mind the Game podcast. It was great. I loved it. That's all the more reason why I have faith and belief in JJ Redick as a potential head coach. Because I mean, anybody who's listened to that, you can see the obsession, the passion, the mind behind it. Like, it's called Mind the Game for a reason. That man cares a lot about this sport and is very much into the plays, the actions, the X's, the O's, the analysis, the mythology, the philosophy, every aspect of the game he's obsessive over. And that's what I want in a head coach. Personally, I don't know about you, I didn't really get those vibes from Darvin Ham, ever, to keep it a stack. If there's one thing I know about JJ Redick, he gonna try to make, it might not be the right adjustment, but he gonna make some adjustments. He's gonna try to be malleable. He's gonna try to adjust and adapt and run plays, run actions, run sets. You know what I mean? It might not always work out, but he gonna try. And I feel like sometimes with Darvin Ham, we didn't even see him try. You know, all the memes about him just standing courtside with his hands in his pockets? Them didn't really feel like memes as a Lakers fans. It just felt like fact. But that being said, I'm kind of frustrated already with like some of the coverage of this hiring, because I feel like people are acting like JJ Redick was so unqualified and so undeserving, and he only got it because of LeBron's buddy. And people act like they just took some random dude off the street. Like LeBron was at the YMCA and seen some white dude and was just like, you want to coach for the Lakers? That's just not how this works. We've seen plenty of players turn into coaches. Granted, the history of that doesn't necessarily say they all go on to be great ones, but there are some. Like Jason Kidd has been a pretty good coach. Larry Bird had a good run. Steve Kerr was another guy who was just a role player on a team. And granted, he won some chips, but like, you know, his role on the team was very limited. He didn't have any coaching experience. Like, he did some front office stuff, whatever. He didn't go straight from playing to coaching, but like, he went from playing to working in the office and then being a coach with no prior coaching experience as far as I'm aware of, and has become one of the greatest coaches of all time. And again, putting JJ Redick like on that type of expectation or that trajectory, that'd be kind of asinine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he's going to be Steve Kerr. I don't think he's going to win championships and become a dynasty with the Lakers all of a sudden overnight, but it's possible. You know what I'm saying? It's not out of the realm of possibility. Regardless, the point remains is that I don't really think there were many other candidates who were more worthy of a chance than JJ Redick was. I mean, it's not like there was an Eric Spoelstra or a Greg Popovich out there just waiting to be signed. You know what I'm saying? Like, our options were Kenny Atkinson, James Borrego, whatever. And you know, the word experience gets thrown around a lot, and he hasn't coached anyone other than like his sons and some 12-year-olds. But it's like, give him a chance. You know what I mean? He gets some experience here. In time, I think he could become a well-respected, accomplished head coach. I feel like if this team, this organization, this front office in the league empowers him, believes in him, I truly do believe he could go on to do some great things. There's going to be some trials and some tribulations. Like I said, I look at coaches, and this is a recent mindset I've developed, right? But I'm starting to look at coaches the same way you do as players, right? Players need time to develop. They need to be able to learn. There are gonna be some rough patches. Okay, I feel like I think I said this earlier, but like coaches have been on such a short leash that I don't agree with. And I think like if you just give them time to learn and develop and not to make a meme on the Sixers, but like trust the process. Like I think we'd see a lot more success and people learn. And granted, there are certain instances where like things are so bad, it's like, okay, let's just cut our losses here. Like there's no more worthwhile investment in here, and we just got to move on. But it's like you can't have a coach win a championship and then 2 years later they're out the door. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Coach Bud should have been fired. I don't think Frank Vogel should have been fired. Monty Williams, maybe he should have never been hired because he didn't want to coach in the first place. But like, I don't think the lack of success for a lot of these teams is all the coach's fault. Crazy opinion, I know, right? So again, while I don't expect JJ Redick to come in and be some miracle worker, I saw some quotes that said he has like Pat Riley potential. Like people were saying, oh, he could be the next Pat Riley or the next Eric Spoelstra. I think that's going a bit far. Okay. If he's like this rookie with like this raw talent that just needs some time to develop and learn or whatever, I believe in that. But instead of comparing like a new draft prospect to, let's say, Michael Jordan or like LeBron James, how about we compare him to like an all-star or an all-NBA player? Like he could be the next Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Those are the two players just off the top of the head because the Celtics just won the championship. But speaking of the Boston Celtics, I think a more apt comparison could be Joe Mazzulla, because I feel like JJ Redick is very similar to Joe Mazzulla in a lot of ways and how kind of psycho they are about the sport of basketball and their philosophies and everything that they kind of believe in, and how I think JJ Redick is probably going to approach the game as a coach. Now, that being said, the Lakers don't have the personnel that the Boston Celtics do. And while I do expect them to make some moves this offseason to become more like them, that's easier said than done. If everybody could just build a team like the Boston Celtics, well, then they would. It's not that simple, right? But Joe Mazzulla is a young guy who came in as a coach, saw a rookie year. You know, he led the Celtics to the conference finals. They didn't quite make it. They almost pulled off a historic down 3-0 comeback, but didn't quite seal the deal. Come back the next year, win a championship. They already had a very talented roster. There was already a culture established. They already had, you know, legendary players and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And yes, I'm going to give them that title because they're going to go down as two of the all-time greats. And especially when it comes to the Celtics history, I see a lot of people that hate on the Celtics. And I know I'm a Lakers fan. I'm not supposed to like them, but I just see so much downplay and hate that I feel the need to like fight back on it, because it's just like, let them boys be great, man. Let them boys be great. Let's enjoy basketball. Shout out Kenny Beach. You know what I'm saying? Can we just enjoy the sport? Can we just let greatness be great? Regardless, I know the argument is going to be that Joe Mazzulla was a coach before he got to the Celtics, not a head coach. He was an assistant coach. You know, he had some coaching opportunities long before that. He'd been coaching, if I remember correct, since like the early 2010s, somewhere around there, right? And he was obviously the Celtics assistant head coach in 2018, 2019. Then Ime Udoka was the head coach, and then eventually he became the head coach for reasons. But regardless, he's even younger than JJ. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Mazzulla is younger than Al Horford. He's like, what, 35, 36? And he didn't play professionally, as far as I'm aware. He had a college career. I think he entered the draft, went undrafted. And, I think there is something to be said about having that experience playing in the league. And I don't think that being a player in the NBA translates to you automatically being a good head coach, as we've already established. There are some players who that didn't work out too well for, like Steve Nash, who was an all-time great player in basketball mind, and things didn't go so hot over in Brooklyn, right? But I don't necessarily know if that was all his fault either, because Brooklyn had a lot of things going on that I feel like was kind of just a ticking time bomb, that whether it was Steve Nash or somebody else, it probably wouldn't have gone as well. Regardless, though, the point remains is that I think the whole world is being really harsh on JJ Redick before he's actually coached a single game in the NBA, and part of that is because he's never coached a single game in the NBA. But can we at least wait to see what it looks like before we dogpile on the guy? Because I got some faith in him, and he's my new head coach. So, of course, I want to have faith and believe in him. And if that first season looks rough, I'm not going to bat an eye at it. It's going to be, unless I see something egregious, right? Like, unless we got D'Angelo Russell out there playing center minutes, I don't really see anything going to be a big deal. Obviously, it's like the mentality is championship or bust, but that's the expectation of maybe the front office, or maybe a lot of other fans. That's not my expectation. I would like to see him here for a long time. If we establish a culture, let him build, let him develop, let him grow, learn, work with everybody, build the roster to the way he sees fit, to fit his philosophy, and just kind of let things bloom. Now, once we get 20, 30, 40 games into the season, I might have a different opinion, especially after the first season. I might have a different opinion, but I gotta see it before I can really talk too much about whether or not I think he's any good or bad. In the end, though, I'm excited for the future. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully things work out for both him and us as fans and the team and the organization and everything. but only time will tell. Anyway, that's going to be the first video here on Lotus Talks Basketball. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit the video with a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned for all this content when I bring you. With all that being said, that's pretty much all for today. And remember, well, maybe I should do an outro here, man. That's pretty much going to do it here, though. I don't really know if I should do the same outro I do on my other outlets or if I should do something new, but we just going to sign off with a catch you later.